Well, Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
It is good to be together on this beautiful day. I know I say beautiful and it's raining, but it means that there should be blessings that are showered down upon Ella and her dear family on this day as she becomes a bat mitzvah. And it is a joy to celebrate with you, Ella, and with your dear family. We are going to turn now in our Siddur to page 74. The Siddur is the blue prayer book that you might have in front of you. And there you'll find on page 74 the prayer Ma Tovu, which is a prayer that reminds us to cast our eyes upon the homes and the communities in which we build together and to declare how beautiful it is to really be in the moment and to seek that beauty in each and every moment. So let us turn to page 74 together and sing together and be joyous together as we begin our morning prayers.
Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Va'ani berov chastecha avo veitecha eshtachave el heichal kodshecha be'yiratecha ma tovu Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Adonai ahavti me'on beitecha umekom mishkan kevodecha va'ani eshtachave ve'echra'a evrecha lifnei Adonai osi ma tovu Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov ohalecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Yisrael va'ani tefilati lecha Adonai et ratzon Elohim berov chastecha aneni be'emet yishecha ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov ohalecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Yisrael Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov ohalecha Yaakov mishkenotecha
Moments ago, an ancient and beautiful tradition took place where Ella had the talit of tradition placed on her shoulders for the very first time. This beautiful talit that comes from Svat, and that mysticism and the beauty of that place, let it always enwrap you, Ella, with that joy of being in a land of promise, but also reflecting that land of promise through you. And it's a reminder of the values that have so lovingly been passed from generation to generation, carried on the shoulders of your ancestors right up until today. And in our Siddur, on page 88, that's page 88, there's a text that reminds us that when we fulfill certain obligations and take on new adult responsibilities, there's not only a reward in that it brings sustenance and goodness to others, but there is an intrinsic goodness to them that is in itself rewarding. It's a joy now to call upon Ella, who's going to lead us in this beautiful reading on page 88.
This one. Mm-hmm. These are the things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world, while the principle remains of the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in the deeds of compassion, arriving early for study, morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people. But the study of Torah encompasses them all.
Because it leads to them all. We are now going to turn in our Siddur, in our prayer book, to page 106. That's page 106, and there you'll find the Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitzgadol v'yitzgadah shemei rabbah.
Amen.
B'alma divrach yirtei amlich malchutei. B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'hayedecho beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imeru. Amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevora leolam omei omaya. Yitzbarach, Yitzbarach, Vishtebach, Vidpa'ar, Vitroman, Vitnasei, Vitadar, Vitale, Vitala, Shmei Kudasha, Barichu, Le'ela min kol bir hata, Vashir ata, Tushbechata, V'nechemata, Damiran Belma, Ve'imeru, Amen.
We now turn to page 108, and we rise together as one community for the call to worship.
Barechu et Adonai hamevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
We continue now in the Hebrew on page 110.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, yotzer or uvarei choshech, osei shalom uvarei et hakol, hame'ir lo'aretz, v'ladarim alecha, barachamim uv tuvo, mechadesh b'chol yom tamid, ma'aseh bereshit. Ma rabu ma'asecha, Adonai ke'ulam b'chochma asita, mal ha'aretz kinyanecha, Tit barach Adonai Eloheinu, al shivach ma'aseh yadecha, ve'al morei or she asita, yefarucha selah, or chadash al tzion ta'ir, v'nizche chulanu mechire le'oro, Baruch atah Adonai yotzer hamoro.
We turn now in our Siddur to page 112, and there you'll find a prayer that reminds us of all the love that God holds for each and every one of us. And Ella, when you look into this congregation and you see the eyes of your parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles and cousins and friends and family looking back at you with that love and affection that you see in their eyes and the pride they feel, that's how we experience God's love in this world, and something that I hope you always hold on to and remember. And so we turn to these words of loving commitment on page 112.
How deeply you have loved us, Adonai, our God, gracing us with surpassing compassion. On account of our forebears who trust led, you reached to teach them the laws of life, being gracious to us, teaching us well. O merciful one, have mercy on us by making us able to understand and discern, to heed, learn, and teach, and lovingly observe, to perform and fulfill all that is in your Torah. Enlighten your eyes with your Torah. Focus our minds on your mitzvot. Unite our hearts in love and reverence for your name. Then we will never feel shame, never deserve rebuke, and never stumble. Having trusted your great and awesome holiness, we shall celebrate your salvation with joy.
We read together, "Gather us in peace from the four corners of the earth, and lead us upright to our land. For you, O God, work wonders. You chose us. Truly you drew us near to your great name, that we might acknowledge you, declaring you one in love.
Praise be you, Adonai, who chooses your people Israel in love. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher ba'amo Yisrael be'ahava.
We turn the page now to 114 as we recite the watchword of our faith, the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Baruch Shem kivod malchuto leolam va'ed. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem kevod malchuto leolam va'ed.
You may be seated. We continue now with Ve'ahavta on page 116.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol ma'odecha v'chayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'pshitecha bevetecha uvletecha v'derech uvshovecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'chayu letotafot beineinecha uftavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tiskeru Va'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'item kedoshim le'elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem, אשר הוצאתם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני Adonai Elohechem. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions in which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Thus shall remember to observe all my commandments and to be holy to your God. I am Adonai your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God.
Adonai Elohechem Emet. We are now going to turn to page 121 as we read responsively.
The eternal truth is that you alone are God and there is none else.
May the righteous of all nations rejoice in your love and exult in your justice.
Let them beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks.
Let nation not lift up sword against nation, nor learn war anymore.
You shall not hate your brother or your sister in your heart.
The stranger that sojourns with you shall be accepted as your equal, for you are strangers in the land of Egypt.
Why do you crush my people and oppress the poor? Asks God.
We know that the Eternal One defends the poor and upholds the rights of the needy.
Praise to God Most High.
Blessed is God and deserving of blessing.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh, nora tehilot osef eleh. שירה חדשה שיבחו גאולים לשמך על שפת הים יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל, ופדי חינומך יהודה וישראל. גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael.
We now rise as we turn in our Siddur to page 124 for the Tefillah.
Read this one. Adonai sifatai tifta ufia gita hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanorim, El Elyon, Gomel chasadim tovim, v'konei hakol, v'zocher hastei avot v'imau, imui v'geula livnei v'neihem, lema'an shemo be'achava, melech ozer u'moshia u'magen. Baruch atah Adonai, magen Avraham, be'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, machayei hakol, atah rav loshia. Mechakel chayim bechesed, mechayei hakol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim verofei cholim, umatir asurim, kayem unoto, lishenei afar. Micha mocha bal gevurot, umidom elo, melech mimit chaye umat mi Yeshua v'ne'eman l'talachaya tako Baruch atah Adonai m'chaye hakol.
We continue now reading responsively on page 129.
You are the open door that beckons in me. Peeking around the doorframe, I begin to enter into your glory.
Self-made boundaries. Lift my foot over the threshold that I might abide with you.
In the house of the Eternal, I found my questions waiting to be posed. They filled me with wonder.
Sit with me, eternal teacher. Encourage my seeking. As I fill my hours with your mitzvot, so shall I be filled.
Send me through your door, stretching up to honor your name, sharing out this wonder, enriching myself in the giving. Baruch atah Adonai, notei apotenu olei olam.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ כבודו. אדיר אדירנו אדוני אדוננו, מה אדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון לדור ודור. הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
You may be seated. We continue our service this morning with Yismechu on page 132.
ישמחו ומלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו ומלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. מקדשי שבי שבת, כולם ישבעו ויתענגו מטובך שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. ובשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו שבת. חמדת ימים אותו קראת, זכר למעשה וראשית שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת.
We turn to page 135. We'll read responsively. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope.
For Shabbat
holiness, which inspires sacred living. For Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness. For Shabbat peace born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. I'll turn to page 137 for Ritzeh. Ritzeh Adonai Eloheinu ba'amcha Yisrael, u'tefilatam ba'ahava tekabel, u'tehi l'ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha. Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer. Wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands, you are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. We turn to page 139 for our Hoda'ah prayer. This is our prayer of gratitude, of thanksgiving. And this morning, we might be grateful for the greenery outside, for the April showers that will hopefully bring May flowers and no more snow. We might be grateful for the beautiful music that we are able to participate in this morning with our cantor, and we are especially grateful for this young woman behind us who is becoming a bat mitzvah this morning. So I offer this prayer that we will read together and say Modim Anachnu Lach at the end of each line. For the expanding grandeur of creation, worlds known and unknown, galaxies beyond galaxies, filling us with awe and challenging our imaginations.
Modim Anachnu Lach.
For this fragile planet Earth, its times and tides, its sunsets and seasons. Modim Anachnu Lach. For the joy of human life, its wonders and surprises, its hopes and achievements. Modim Anachnu Lach. For human community, our common past and future hope, our oneness transcending all separation, our capacity to work for peace and justice in the midst of hostility and oppression. Modim Anachnu Lach. For high hopes and noble causes, for faith without fanaticism, for understanding of views not shared. Modim Anachnu Lach. For all who have labored and suffered for a fairer world, who have lived so that others might live in dignity and freedom. Modim Anachnu Lach. For human liberties and sacred rights, for opportunities to change and grow, to affirm and choose. Modim Anachnu Lach. We pray that we may live not by our fears, but by our hopes, not by our words, but by our deeds. Blessed are you, Adonai, your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. We continue with our prayer for peace, Sim Shalom, on page 140.
Sim Shalom, Tova uvracha, Chen v'chesed, uverachamim aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael amecha. Barucheinu Yotzreinu, Barucheinu Yotzreinu, Kulanu ke'echad Be'or פניך, כי באור פניך נתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו תורות חיים ואהבת חסד וצדקה וברכה ורחמים וחיים ושלום וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל
With that beautiful melody and the words of peace echoing in our minds, we take this moment now for silent meditation for the prayers in your heart.
Let's sing together. Ose shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, amen. Yaseh shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, 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 Yaseh shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
V'imru amen. We are now going to turn to our Torah service, Seder Kriyat Torah, which can be found in your Siddur, in your prayer book, on page 244. That's 244. And this is a section in our service in which Ella can take the Torah from the Ark and carry it amidst our community. And it's a symbol that the Torah, with all of its values and ideals and legends and stories, is not something that we keep up here just for the officiants, but it is something that belongs to all of us. And it's meaningful that Ella is going to be carrying into the congregation one of two Holocaust scrolls that we have here at Congregation Shalom. And this one is over 125 years old and comes from Poland. It's a beautifully written Torah scroll, and whoever the scribe was truly at the height of their craft. And the story of this Torah scroll is one that we teach each and every week here at Congregation Shalom when we have a B'nai Mitzvah reading from it. As all Torah scrolls and the lessons that reside within it, this Torah scroll was much loved by the community that would read from it and study from it and absorb its wisdom. And there was one man that was part of this community who felt particularly attached to this Torah scroll. It's light, it's good for young people to carry and read. And so it was that when the Germans amassed upon the Polish border, that this man had a sense of what might befall his community. And so he hid the Torah scroll away. And sure enough, when the Nazis entered into Poland, initiating the Second World War, they came to towns like him and took the Jews from that town and the cities of Poland as well to concentration camps and death camps. This man who hid the Torah scroll away was taken to Auschwitz-Birkenau, where life expectancy was a matter of days at most. But this man was able to survive there until the camp was liberated. After the camp was liberated, that man, having experienced untold horrors, returned to the village in which he had come from, and he uncovered the Torah scroll, and he took it to Warsaw, which was once such an extraordinary and vibrant, large Jewish community, but only a remnant remained. And for a time, that community would still continue to practice their Judaism and learn from the Torah scroll. But when that community, that remnant, moved to places such as the United States and Canada and Israel and Western Europe, the community became so small that it decided to send the Torah scroll to the United States, which is when Congregation Shalom learned about it and brought it here to Milwaukee. And the purpose of this Torah scroll being sent to the United States is that a Torah is meant to be used, especially by young people, so that they can grow with a sense of spirituality and enable the spark of hope and liberty and freedom for all humanity to be kindled and continued. And that means that when Ella carries the Torah and reads the Torah amidst our community, it represents not only the hard work that she's done and how she's been able to learn from the Torah, but it represents how every young person, no matter their religion, their race, their nationality, can be a source of light unto the world, no matter how much darkness we might see in it. And it is a great honor to pass the Torah scroll from generation to generation in Ella's dear family. It's an honor now to call upon dear grandparents, Frank and Ann Gimbel, and Jeff and Diane Wagner to come up to the bima, to call upon dear parents, Rachel and Benji, to step forward. And Ella, if you would stand next to your parents, and Harold and Arthur, in no time at all, it's going to feel like just in a blink, the two of you are going to be up here having the Torah passed to you as well. And so it's meaningful that you are going to be standing next to your dear sister. It's also a joy to call upon our ark openers, to call upon Noah Gimbel, Maria Moreno, and Simon Gimbel Moreno to step forward as they have the honor of opening up our ark doors. Once again, we turn in our service to page 244. That's page 244. And we rise together as one community as we greet the Torah scrolls.
En kamocha va'Elohim Adonai ve'en kema'asecha malchutecha malchut kol olamim וממשלתך בכל דור ודור. אדוני מלך, אדוני מלך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. כי מציון תצא תורה, כי מציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני מירושלים. ברוך שנתן תורה תורה, ברוך שנתן תורה תורה, לעמו ישראל בקדושתו.
Zota Torah, Ella, as you well know, this is the Torah, and it has been uplifted and held high by generations of your family. Represents all of the values that have been held dear, values of being upright and strong, kind and generous of spirit. It is a joy now to pass this Torah from the generation of your grandparents. To the generation of your parents. And now Ella is being placed on your shoulder, where it should remain with good health and much happiness. We turn now and face the congregation as we recite the watchword of our faith, the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is Lord.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Gadol Shemo. Gadlu Adonai iti, uneromema Shemo yachdav. Lecha Adonai hagedula, v'hagevura, v'hatiferet, v'hanetza, v'hachod. Kicho b'shamayim uvaretz, Kicho b'shamayim uvaretz, Lecha Adonai hamamlacha, V'hamitnaseh lechol lerosh. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, Lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, Lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, Lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, Lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, Lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, Lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, Lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, Lo yilmedu od milchama. La 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 la. La 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 la. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, Lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, Lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, Lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, Lo yilmedu od milchama. Yai dai 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 dai, Yai dai 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 dai, Yai dai 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 dai, Yai dai 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 dai.
You may be seated.
This week's Torah portion, Acharei Mot Kedoshim, can be found in the book of Leviticus. It is a double portion. In Acharei Mot, God instructs Moses and Aaron on the actions they must fulfill on the day of Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the Jewish year. In Kedoshim, we read many commandments created to help the Israelites lead moral lives. Among them, how to care for those most in need in their community, how to keep Shabbat, and honor one's parents. You can find the section read this morning in the Chumash, the large blue and white book, on page 482.
It's a joy now to call upon our first Aliyah to Torah, to call upon Joshua and Julia and Elijah and Lena Gimbel. Ya'amdu Yoshua ben Ephraim Michal ve'Aviva bat Avram v'Sara ve'Eliyahu ben Yoshua ve'Aviva ve'Nava bat Yoshua ve'Aviva. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bochar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. V'chol adam lo yiyeh be'ohel mo'ed. Bevo'o lechaper ba'kodesh ad seito, v'chiper ba'ado uv'ad beito, uv'ad chol kahal Yisrael, v'yetzei el hamizbeach, asher lifnei Adonai, v'chiper alav, v'lakach midam hapar umidam hase'ar, v'natan al karnot hamizbeach saviv, v'hazeh alav min hadam be'etzba'o, sheva pe'amim v'tiharo v'kodsho, Mitum'at b'nei Yisrael.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu et Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Beautiful Aliyah. And for those of you who are following along, we are looking at the Hertz Chumash. That's in the larger book that you might have in front of you on page 482. We're on Leviticus chapter 16, verse 20. So join now to call upon the Strausses, to call upon Danielle, Timmy, Justin, and Riley Strauss. Ya'amdu, Davida bat Yosef v'Dina, v'Melech ben Melech v'Joni, v'Herzl Nadav ben Melech v'Davida, v'Chanamaya bat Melech v'Davida.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. V'chila mechaper et hakodesh, ve'et ohel mo'ed, ve'et hamizbeach, ve'hakriv et haseir hechai, ve'samach Aharon et shetei yado al rosh hasair hechai. Ve'hatoda alav et kol avonot b'nei Yisrael, ve'et kol pishehem lechol chatotam, ve'natan otam al rashei haseir, ve'shilach biyad esh ate hamidbara. V'naso haseir alav et kol avonotam et eretz gezerah v'shilach et hasair bamidbar.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tohenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Yesher koach and mazel tov. Now a joy to call upon Todd and Sanjay Gimbal. Ya'amod Yitzchak ben Ephraim v'Michal.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Uva Aharon el ohem mo'ed ufashat et bigdei habad asher lavash bevo'o el hakodesh v'hinachem sham v'rachatz et bisaro b'mayim b'makom kadosh v'lavash et bigdei v'yatzei v'asa et oloto v'et olat ha'am v'chaper ba'ado uv'ad ha'am v'et chelev ha'chatat yaktir hamizbecha.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Yesher koach. Now a joy to call upon dear grandparents, to call upon Jeff Wagner and Diane Wagner and Frank and Ann Gimbel. Ya'amdu, Yosef ben Yitzchak Moshe v'Shirley, v'Dina bat Hirsch v'Miriam, v'Ephraim Michal ben Hirsch v'Viti.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'nosan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen.
Amen. V'hamishaleach et hasa'ir la'azazel. Yichabes begadav verachatz et besaro b'mayim ve'acharei chen yavo el hamachane ve'et par chatat ve'et haseir hachatat asher huva et damam lechaper bakodesh yotzi el michutz lamachane ve'sarfu va'esh et aratam ve'et besaram ve'et pirsham ve'hasoref otam yichabes begadav V'rachatz et besaro b'mayim, v'acharei chen yavo el hamachane.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam notah b'shomkenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
A beautiful aliyah. And now it's a joy to call upon dear parents, to call upon Rachel Wagner and Benji Wagner. Ya'amdu, Shena Rachel bet Ephraim Michal ve'an, ve'Binyamin David Shmuel ben Yosef ve'Dina.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. V'hayata lachem lechukat olam. B'chodesh hashvi'i be'asor lachodesh. Ta'anu et nafsotechem, v'chol melacha lo ta'asu. Ha'ezrach v'hager hagar betochechem, ki vayom hazeh yechaper aleichem, letaher etchem, mikol chatotechem, lifnei Adonai titaru, Shabbat Shabbaton hi lachem, v'initem et nafsotechem, chukat olam.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Ta'amod, ta'amod, ta'amod ha-bat mitzvah. Ta'amod, Elianu matana bat Binyamin David Shmuel v'Shena Rachel ha-bat mitzvah ha-nechbada. It is with great joy and great fanfare that we call forward Ella Wagner as she becomes bat mitzvah.
Baruch Adonai Hamborah.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amin v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
V'chiper hakochen asher yimshach oto v'asher yimale et yado l'chachen tachat aviv v'lavash et bigdei habat bigdei hakodesh v'chiper et mikdash hakodesh v'et ohel moed v'et hamizbeach yichaper v'chayata zot v'am HaKohanim, ve'al ko'al HaKachal, Yechaper, v'chayat hazot lachem lehukat olam. Al lechaper al b'nei Yisrael mikol hatotam achat bashana vayas ka'asher tiva Adonai et Moshe. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'hayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai natena Torah.
Amen. Yeshar koach, mazel tov. All right, Ella, turn to your left. Give your dad and your mom a big hug and a kiss. And Harold and Arthur, too. Harold, you can come on up if you want to stand together. And you can give her a big hug, too. It's a joy to stand with all of you at the Torah. And it's meaningful that you come to this Torah in a part in which we are at a seam. And if you look, Ella, if you look closely, you can see that our Torah, it's sewed together. Section of the Torah to section of Torah is sewed together. And there are people in our lives that act as, in a sense, those who are weaving our lives together, our life story. When you look over at your mom and your dad and your brothers, you know that your lives are woven together beautifully by people who care for you and love you. There's 2 words that I want to teach you. The first is nachas. Do you know the word nachas? Do you know what that word is? It's a Yiddish word. And that means when you look at your mom and your dad and your grandparents and your uncles and your aunts and your cousins, and you know that you've done something so extraordinary, that they do something, what's called shepping nachas, which means that they are so filled up with pride for you and who you are, but also who you're becoming. And that's a very important thing, to always look at your parents and feel them shepping nachas for you. And the other thing that I want to teach you is yichus. Yichus means coming from people, coming from a family that is also filled with goodness and beauty, that look at the world and try to make it a better place. You get such extraordinary yichus from your family as well. And that's the relationship that exists in the Torah, in which it's bound together in holiness in moments such as these. It's moments where you turn to your parents and you see them shepping nachas. You can turn to them now, you can see them shepping nachas. And also when you look at everybody who's had a hand in you becoming who you are and feeling that yichus. So never forget how you've uplifted the Torah today, and how in each and every day you can continue to make positive change in the world and bring about a sense of wholeness and a sense of peace. It's a joy now to turn to those who are going to uplift our Torah and dress our Torah. It's a joy to call upon our Hagba and Galila, to call upon Michael Levine and Joshua Gimbel, who are going to lift and bind our Torah. We rise now together as a community as our Torah is lifted and bound. Ella, next thing is you're going to read the English translation, okay? Yeah, you can go down. Okay. Go ahead. Bring it nice and tight. Bring it back. Bring it back. So just lift. High.
וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה. La 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 la
You may be seated, and now Ella is going to read the English translation of her Torah portion.
And Aaron shall go into the tent of meeting, take off the linen vestments that he put on when he entered the shrine, and leave them there. He shall bathe his body in the water in the holy crescent and put on his vestments. Then he shall come out and offer his burnt offering and the burnt offering of the people, making expiation for himself and for the people. The fat of the purgation offering he shall turn into smoke on the altar. Those who set the azazel goat free shall wash those clothes and bathe the water, and after they may re-enter the camp. The bull of purgation, whose offering of goat and purgation offering, whose blood was brought into the purge of the shrine, shall be taken outside their camp, and their hides, flesh, and dung shall be consumed in fire. The one who burned them shall wash the clothes and bathe the body in water. After that they may re-enter the camp. And this shall be a law to you for all time. In the 7th month, on the 10th day of the month, you shall practice self-denial. And you shall do no manner of work, neither the citizen, nor the alien who resides among you. For on this day of atonement shall be made for you to purify all of your sins. You shall be pure before the Eternal. It shall be Sabbath of complete rest for you, and you shall practice self-denial, for it is the law of all time. The priest who has been anointed and ordained to serve as a priest in the place of his father shall make expiation. He shall put on the linen vestments and the sacred vestments. He shall purge the innermost of the shrine. He shall purge the tent of meeting and the altar. He shall make expiation for the priests and for all the people of the congregation. This shall be a law to you for all time, to make atonement for the Israelites and all their sins once a year.
We are now going to turn to a second biblical reading that we do on every Shabbat, known as the Haftorah. And the Haftorah comes from a section of the Tanakh, from a section of the Bible known as the prophets. And the prophets were not foretellers predicting some far-off future. Rather, they were forthtellers. With their words, with their actions, with their commitment to creating justice in the world and repairing the brokenness that they saw, they wanted to push society forward to become a more just and holy and sacred place. And so, Ella is going to be reading from Ezekiel chapter 22, which can be found in the Hertz Chumash on page 494. Page 494 in the Hertz Chumash, Ezekiel chapter 22.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar bin ve'im tovim v'ratza v'direhem hane'emorim be'emet Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'Torah uv'Moshe avdo Uv-Yisrael amo, unvinvye ha'emet v'tzedek.
Amen.
Vayechi devar Adonai elai lemor, v'ayata v'nadam hatishpot et ir hadamim v'chudata et kol tovotecha v'emarta ko amar Adonai Elohim ir shofechet dam b'tocha lavo ita gilolim alecha litam'a. Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, rock of all creation, righteous one of all generations, the faithful God whose word is deed, whose every command is just and true, for the Torah, for the privilege of worship, for the prophets, and for this Shabbat that you, Adonai our God, have given us, for holiness and for rest, for honor and for glory. We thank and bless you. May your name be blessed by every living being. Praise to you, Adonai, for Sabbath and its holiness.
Yasher Koach. You have prepared for this day, and you've been working very hard, and it is showing with all the effort that you've put into it is coming out right now. So I want you to take a second to look at everybody in the room and see that they're smiling at you. You're getting a thumbs up from a cousin, I think, and they're just so proud of you. We are all so proud of you here at Congregation Shalom as well. It is an honor to call forward Laura Gordon and Kit Trainer to open our Ark as we return our Sefer Torah to the Ark. We'll rise, and we're on page 256.
כי לכך טוב נתתי לכם תורתי אל תעזובו. עץ חיים היא למחזיקים בה ותומכיה מאושר. דרכיה דרכי נועם וכל נתיבותיה שלום. השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה. חדש חדש ימינו, חדש ימינו כקדם.
You may be seated, and now Ella has prepared these words on the occasion of her becoming a bat mitzvah.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you so much for being here today on my special day as I celebrate my becoming a bat mitzvah. Today, I read from the Torah for the first time, and I am counted as a Jewish adult in my community. My Torah portion is Achrei Mot, and it comes from the book Leviticus. My Torah portion talks about Yom Kippur, asking for forgiveness. It details a ritual Jews engage in during biblical times to remove the guilt they may have felt inside and to relieve their mistakes. Today, in Judaism, we ask for forgiveness from the person we wronged. If they don't accept our apology the first time, we will ask again later, and ask up to 3 times, after which we can move on. We will also ask for forgiveness from God for any mistakes we may have made in the way we live our lives. The themes in my Torah portion are similar to how Jewish people ask for forgiveness now, in the sense that you still feel sorry and you want to make amends and receive forgiveness. There are also differences. For example, instead of a biblical ritual for animal sacrifice, we now simply ask the person for their forgiveness. This Torah portion also focuses on mistakes. What I have learned about mistakes is the importance of moving forward, asking for forgiveness and learning from it. Mistakes are valuable opportunities for us to learn and grow. They are one of the reasons we are where we are now, human development-wise. For humans to move forward in life, they need to know what and what not to do, and the way of achieving this is by learning from our mistakes and not repeating the same ones. I have made many mistakes in my life and learned to move forward. For example, one of my hobbies is figure skating. If I go skating every day with the mindset of, I can't make any mistakes, or I have to be perfect and not mess up, I would never get any better or improve. Because if I gave up every time I fell, I wouldn't improve at all. When I make a mistake with one of my friends or family members, I know the right thing to do is to ask them how that made them feel, check on them, apologize, and acknowledge what I did wrong, even if it might be hard. A special part of becoming a bat mitzvah is demonstrating responsibility for others and taking part in a mitzvah project. My mitzvah project was donating books and reading to little kids at Next Door Foundation. I wanted to focus on a one-on-one project where I could meet the kids, talk to them, and help them learn. I liked being able to be a part of something bigger than my everyday life, where I got to help people. I loved being able to contribute my time and maybe even help kids learn. When I was a kid, I loved it when people read to me, and I loved getting new books to look at and read. It feels great to be able to provide the same joy to others. Today, I share my bat mitzvah with Elka Abraham. Translated to English is Ella. I received her name through the Remember Us Holocaust B'nai Mitzvah project. Elka was born in Czechoslovakia in 1932. Her father, Moshe, was a tailor, and her mother, Fanny, was a stay-at-home mom. Elka was murdered at Auschwitz in 1944. She was 12 years old. She was never able to live to have her bat mitzvah, so I'm honoring her today. And throughout my life, I will hold her name in my heart. It is my sacred responsibility to remember Elka today as I continue into my Jewish adulthood. I hope to be continuing doing mitzvot or good deeds in the name of Elka. I had the moving experience of visiting Yad Vashem, the Holocaust Memorial in Israel last month. I was forever changed by that experience, and I am committed to doing my part as a member of the post-survivor generation. Many people helped me get to this point. Thank you to Miss Green, who sat with me every Wednesday to teach me my prayers. Thank you to Cantor Perper, who helped me learn my melodies in Torah portion and Haftorah. Thank you to Susie, my amazing tutor. I liked all the games we played, especially when I would always beat you at war. Thank you to Rabbi Noah for his guidance during the time at Shalom and through the process of becoming a bat mitzvah, and Rabbi Pozlowski for her help during the bat mitzvah project. Thank you to all my friends for being here today, and thank you for all your support. I love hanging out with you guys, and it means a lot you were all able to make it. Thank you to my grandparents, aunts, and uncles. Some of you have come very far to be here. It means a lot to our whole family we could be together for this important celebration. Arthur, you are so small, cute, and a bundle of joy. You're very good at sports, especially running. I like it when we can play dinos and Minecraft blocks together. Harold, you are one of the funniest people I know. You're very positive and full of energy every time I see you. I love it when we can hang out, play outside, and watch movies, and spy on our fellow parents, even though we're not that sneaky. Dad, I could only hope someday I could acquire your tremendous skills of debate and lawyer skills. I appreciate how hard you work for our family, every day. I love it when we used to watch Junior Chef on Monday nights when I was little, and Mom was at work. I also enjoy spending time in Door County with you. I'm so lucky to have you as a dad. Mom, I think you're probably the best listeners I know. Whenever I come to you with a problem, whether it's something with my friends, school, or just life, you always know the right thing to say. I know how much effort you put into our family, and I'm extremely grateful in my bat mitzvah. I love you to the moon and back again. Thank you to everyone for being here with us today. Your presence makes the celebration much sweeter, and it means a lot. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Now it's a joy to call upon Benji and Rachel, who are going to share their blessings with Ella. All right. Ella, come stand right here. You guys stand there.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I'm tempted to use the stool. I think I may. Today, we reflect, recognize, and celebrate this extraordinary moment of you becoming a bat mitzvah. First, let's reflect. 13 years ago tomorrow, you entered our universe with a scream of vitality and made me a dad. And Rachel a mom. Okay, buddy. Okay. Ella, for the first 5 years of your life, we brought you everywhere and anywhere with us. You were so easy back then, and you're still easy most of the time. And our world revolved around you. It was a delight. Then came Harold, and you owned the big sister role. You showered him with love, attention, and play, and you adjusted and adapted with such ease and grace. And then came Arthur. 2 little brothers, you instantly fell in love with Arthur too. Although it can be a challenge sometimes to be the big sister, you never stopped loving these 2 little fellas. Your empathy, kindness, intelligence, and strength were evident since the beginning. Your intuition into the human condition, coupled with your sweet heart, draws people to you. Not much phases you, Ella. Your stoicism is remarkable. 3 years ago today, you turned 10. We were less than 1 month into the pandemic, And if you remember, in April, so much was uncertain and scary. And instead of a big birthday celebration of taking you to New York City, we experienced our first drive-by birthday party. Do you remember those? Although I was sad, I was strengthened by your resilience and your smile and your conviction. And your resilience, like always, has been a motif. Then you returned back to USM, which we knew was difficult, but your resilience and your big heart allowed you to successfully find your path with friends who share your kindness and thirst for good. Now let's recognize the moment. You are incredibly gifted, and now you have a responsibility to employ your gifts for tikkun olam, which means repairing the world, as you become a bat mitzvah. We have witnessed you working extraordinarily hard for preparation for today. For hundreds and hundreds of years, generation after generation, our people have nourished and continued this important bat mitzvah tradition. You are not the only Ella Wagner in our family that's been bat mitzvahed. Papa Waggy's mom was Ella Wagner. They'd be very proud of you today. I don't know how she's going to do this. Your Torah portion focuses on self-awareness, being aware when you have erred or made a mistake or negatively affected another person, and then taking steps to repair this error. In this repair process, one learns, betters her soul, and becomes more wise and more capable of tikkun olam. We never had to encourage you or hassle you to engage the Next Door Foundation. I once went with you and had a small window in how this project repaired the worlds of many children when you read to them and their faces lit up with smiles. You created so many happy moments. Ella, whenever you put forth your best effort, there is nothing better. Let's now celebrate your passage into Jewish adulthood. Continue living with passion, with an independent mind, with creativity, with empathy and intention. Your strength, resilience, and compassion equip you with all the tools to help repair the world and succeed in the truest sense, which is to be happy, healthy, and at peace. I love you.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
We are so thrilled you could all be here with us today to celebrate, I'm not even going to make it through the intro, this milestone in Ella's life with our family. Thank you, Rabbi Noah, Rabbi Pozlowski, Cantor Perper, Mrs. Green, and Susie Rosengarten for all the help and guidance you provided Ella to get to this moment. Thank you to Benji for your loving partnership in life and parenting. You're the rock of our family. We adore you. It seems like yesterday we were gazing lovingly in awe into your newborn eyes, Ella, our firstborn, and here we are today at your bat mitzvah. Thank you for making this day possible. I love you. Ella, Eliana Matana, our sunshine, our gift. I could easily stand here today and speak for hours and still not be able to adequately express the space you occupy in my heart and my adoration of the person you are and my hopes for you as you continue on your path forward. In my best efforts to express these sentiments in a concise way, I'm going to talk about some of the traits you possess that have served you and will continue to serve you on your path into adulthood. Ella, you are joyful. You simply radiate. You are the most joyful, vivacious little girl. People would frequently comment on how palpable your love of life was as a child. You seemingly floated through your days with immense joy and rarely expressed sadness or discontent. I only remember you having one tantrum, and it was when we had to leave the library before you were ready.
While the way you express joy has changed over the years, you have a great sense of humor and always throw in some hilarious one-liners and maybe a little sarcasm here and there. Oops. I'm missing a page. It's okay. Sorry.
I was responsible for putting the pages together, so this is going to be a problem later.
Sorry. I have a copy of Ella's speech from her page 2 forward and not mine. I apologize. Okay. There we go. You still possess a lighthearted nature and love for fun. There are few things I love more than seeing you when you are locked into one of your zones of happiness, when your laughter fills the air, and when you are living your best life. I hope you can always find the joyful part of yourself, Ella. I hope you will continue to see good in others and the world, and not to sweat the small stuff. I also hope you know that there are moments in life where it's okay to feel sadness, worry, fear, frustration, anger, and grief. And in those moments, you will be surrounded by the same love that you are surrounded when you are joyful. Ella, you are strong. Your strength was evident from day one when you came into this world on your own terms, on your own timeline. You have always had your own opinions, whether it be about what the best dessert is, or what you want to wear, or about world politics. You are clear on where you stand, and you let it be known. You have strong and good ideas. You never had a hard time coming up with project ideas, or ideas for decor, or for activities. I especially love the multiple times you chose to study Ruth Bader Ginsburg, another strong Jewish woman. Your strength and bravery shines for us all today, Ella, as you stand before us on the bima. I hope you continue to follow your own path, trust your own ideas, and also listen curiously to those around you, while always being able to return to your own truth. Remember, there is a difference between being strong and being stubborn, and I know you shine when you lean into your strength with an open heart. Ella, you are resilient. You have faced some challenges throughout your time in this world. You have had heartache, grief, and rejection, and as have your peers here today, had to navigate an unprecedented pandemic world as you were entering adolescence. I was completely blown away with the ease, grace, and grit with which you handled such an uncertain and challenging time. You switched schools and attended classes virtually when the overwhelming majority of your peers were in person for classes. You never questioned or challenged our decision to take this path, and you did not complain. You were a mentor to your brothers and such a positive role model, always taking the opportunity to come up with creative things for the three of you to do when I needed to work or get things done in the house. Your resilience also shows through your ability to forgive and move on. I've seen you give people the benefit of the doubt and accept apologies and move forward. You are always able to offer me forgiveness when I make mistakes in parenting. I know it's hard to be the oldest, a role you handle well. There will continue to be challenging moments you will encounter throughout your life. I hope you can continue through these adverse moments with resilience and remember the importance of self-care at these times. Finally, Ella, you are capable. You are intelligent, compassionate, loving, and brave. You worked so hard to get to this moment today. I hope you will file this away as evidence of how very capable you are. I hope you will always believe in yourself. I hope you will remember in times of doubt that you are capable. I hope that you know you have support and love surrounding you. Just look around, Ella. I hope that you know that you can always ask for help, and this shows strength too. I love you forever, and I hope you can feel immense pride in yourself today and as you move forward in life.
Rachel and Benji, if you would remain standing, or if you would rise, and Ella, if you would join them, and Harold and Arthur, if you would stand with them as well, and grandparents, if you would rise, and aunts and uncles and cousins, if you would stand as well, all of the family that is here, and friends and community and teachers who have joined us for this very special moment. We are about to recite the words that have been on the lips of parents for generations as they've approached moments such as these, the Shechianu prayer.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kiyemanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
Blessed are you, eternal our God, ruler of the universe, who has given us life, who has sustained us, and who has brought us to this very special moment today. And let us say, Amen. You may be seated. I am so pleased that you did not hold back the emotion and the tears. Because just as we look outside and we see the rain that's descending upon the grass and the trees outside, and we know that the rain nourishes the earth, tears of joy in sacred moments such as these, they nourish the soul and nourish the heart. And they reflect only a joy of watching a young woman reach for the divine. And this is what you're doing, Ella, in moments such as these. Your Torah portion, Achrei Mot, Kirushim, is absolutely a beautiful one. And the word Kirushim shares that root word kadosh. And kadosh means holy. And this is a tricky word, holy. It's really hard to define. And that word kadosh actually means separate. And that means that sometimes we separate from the mundane, the everyday, from that which is elevated and sacred and holy and filled with love and accomplishment and joy, just like this moment. And holiness can exist in time, it can exist in action, and it can exist in our relationships. And think about the holiness of this moment, Ella, the moment of being surrounded by love and family and pride that people feel in you. You've worked so hard to be able to stand in front of your congregation, your community, and take part in these ancient rituals that speak to your learning and who you are as a person. And that effort that you've put in has reached a moment of fruition, and therefore this moment is separate and holy. And I hope it's a moment that you remember and build on for the rest of your life. And for your parents, this is also a stepping stone moment. When they first stood under the chuppah together and lifted a Kiddush cup of wine, what makes that wine that they drank holy and profound, what made that juice and those grapes turn into something strong was time. And they are seeing a reflection of time in you and in your brothers. And your actions are a reflection of your holiness. And when you read to a child or collect books for children, that is holy. That's kadosh. That's a mitzvah. And when we commit ourselves to acts of tikkun olam, as your dad shared, acts of healing, the brokenness we see in the world, that is holy. And Ella, you've inspired us today to sacred acts of holiness. And there's holiness in our actions, and there have been holiness in your actions. And when you sit among family and friends and community who love you and who you love, those relationships are holy too. They are kadosh. They're holy when you think of the people who've lifted you up from the time of your birth, the friendships forged, the love shared, the holiness. It permeates your life. You have sacred examples of how to live a life of dignity and goodness in the people that you love. Your father is a justice seeker for those who are in need. Laws and ethics are a reflection of his passion, and he has a deep sense of tradition and respect for his heritage and the past that is reflected in you. And your mom sees and nourishes the brokenness in humanity and raises them up to let the light permeate their souls. What a wonderful example that you have in her and in both of them. to seek justice, to seek wholeness, to seek peace in our inner worlds and in the outer world. It's a noble path and an example for you and your brothers to emulate. And your dear grandparents, who are extraordinary people, each and every one who live their lives with a soulful quality, who make the world a better place, and who paved the way for this beautiful family, they are holy too. Ella, you are on a journey, and it's meaningful that you just returned from Israel. You have what we can describe as the glow of Jerusalem upon you. It's not just in your talit that's on your, beautifully reflected on your back, around that's enwrapping you in that sense of holiness as well. But that glow emanates through you. The holy city and the nation of Israel is a place of aspiration, of hope, a place of sacred longing, and a place of vibrancy. And your journey there, I know, was an important one. Journeys are important things. There was a philosopher who, when assessing the importance of travel, and this is something that I've been thinking about lately, differentiated between the concept of pilgrim and tourist. And she talked about that difference. And she said, you know, a tourist is the type of person who walks the land, right? They see what's there, they see the beauty, and then they return home. But a pilgrim is someone who lets the land walk through them, who experiences the people, experiences the life experiences that emanate from a place, and they return to where they came from forever changed. And so each of us is on a journey of life. It's made up of time and space, experiences and people, steps taken, and most importantly, your traveling companions. And so it's so important that we not be tourists in our own lives, but that we be pilgrims, allowing the holiness of our journey to flow through us, to change us. And this is a moment that is reflective of that journey that you are on. Ella, I know that you will let the holiness of your journey flow through you. Just like when you're on the ice, you'll twist and turn and leap with the enthusiasm for what is to come. And I have some hopes and prayers for you. Never stop thinking about the ways that you can make the world a better place. Never stop filling your days with meaning. Never take for granted the holiness and the people that you share the steps of your journey with. For God has brought you to this moment. May God ever keep you in health, with happiness, and with peace. And let us say, Amen. And now, Ella, I have some words that I'm going to share just for you, and then the cantor and the rabbi and I are going to have the privilege of blessing you.
יברכך אדוני וישמרך. יאר אדוני פניו אליך ויחונקה. יישא אדוני פניו אליך v'yasem lecha shalom.
May God always smile upon you, Ella, and bless it with God's choicest of blessings, the blessing of wholeness, the blessing of peace, the blessing of shalom. And let us say, Amen. We are now going to turn to the concluding sections of our service for this Shabbat, which can be found in your Siddur on page 282. That's page 282. And it's a great joy now to call upon your dear brothers to step forward, Harold and Arthur. Uh-oh. Where's Arthur? There's Arthur. Okay. We saw you earlier. And now it's time for you to come up to the bima, and you have the honor of opening up our curtain. We are going to rise together as we turn to page 282. Please rise.
Aleinu leshabeach la'adon hakol, laten gedula le'yotzer breshit, shelo asanu kigoye ha'aratzot, velo samanu kimishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. We turn now to memory as we think of dear ones who have passed into life eternal. Particularly in our hearts and minds, we regret to announce the passing of Julius Garber and Rabbi Harold Kushner. In addition to those names, we commemorate those for whom we are marking the period of Shiva. We think of Andy Coppett and Richard Strauss. In addition to those names, we think of those for whom we commemorate the period of Shloshim, the 30-day mourning period. We think of James Ansfield and Joanne Sandlow. And also we remember these members of your family, Ella, who I'm certain are still smiling down upon you with the same love and affection that they did in life. We think lovingly of Harold Gimbel, Virginia Gimbel, Marvin Wagner and Shirley Wagner, Minnie Minash, Henry Minash, Glenn Knutson, Maddie Knutson, Jimmy Ansfield, and Stanley Gimbel, and Richard Strauss. If there are names that should be added to this list or names that should be pronounced differently than I did, we invite you to call those names out loud as I look in your direction, or if you're commemorating the yahrzeit of a loved one, please do feel free to call that name out. It's a mitzvah to remember our dear ones. Your memory be for a blessing. In addition to the names of our loved ones, so too do we think of all those who died due to war and or terrorism, all those who died in defense of this nation and allied nations' ideals. We think of all those who perished due to this terrible virus that has stricken our nation and our globe, as well as the virus of racism and xenophobia. We always think of those who perished during the Holocaust. Our griefs and sympathies are mingled as we turn to words sanctified by memory, words glorified by hope. The Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish, can be found on page 294. We rise together now as one community as we remember our loved ones. We recite these sacred words together. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shmei Rabbah, B'alma divrach Yiruteh v'amlich malchuteh, B'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kari v'yamru amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevorach leolam ulamei amaya. Yit barach v'ishtabach v'itpa'ar v'tromam v'itnaseh. V'itadar v'italev v'italal shmei dekudesha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush bechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran bi'alma v'yamru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yamru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav. Hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yamru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. And let us say, amen. You may be seated. In our tradition, we always turn from sadness to joy. And it's a joy now to call upon Roger Karp, one of our finest teachers in our congregation and a member of our congregational leadership, who's going to present some gifts to you, Ella, on behalf of our community and on our congregation. And as he steps up here, I just want to take note of the fact that up here on this bema right now are so many words and speeches, but they're words of love. And the truth is that that is the greatest gift that can be given to you. The words of affirmation of all that we hold dear for you, Ella, is such a beautiful thing. Roger, it's a joy now to share the bema with you.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Shabbat shalom.
Thank you for your kind words. Good. Ella, if you want to come up and join me, please. Thank you. Ella, it is my pleasure and honor to represent the Board of Trustees, the officers, and the religious school and Hebrew school faculty. And I was thinking about the wonderful words that your mother and father shared, and your mother reminded us that you were part of an amazing 5th grade class that ended just 2 years ago that was virtual the entire year except for the last day. And as a teacher, I was very worried about that year. What would it be like? And I started off with faces that were two-dimensional of my students. But very quickly, your enthusiasm, your leadership, the poise that you showed, everything that we have seen this morning made you become three-dimensional. You truly came alive in our class. And I remembered one of the first things that you read today. You talked about how a mitzvah is dealing with guests graciously. And I thought graciousness is a word that truly defines you. And it made our class so much more meaningful. So I'm very grateful for that. And everything that you accomplished that year and everything that you've done today really is expressed in this beautiful certificate signed by our rabbis and cantor that marks this occasion. It's a document that shows where you've come. It marks this amazing day, and it offers a bit of a promise for tomorrow, your commitment to Jewish study, to Jewish learning, and deeds of loving kindness. So we're very grateful to present this to you. The women of Shalom have for you a Kiddush cup, which we hope you will use to welcome Shabbat and holidays in many years to come. We also have a tzedakah box in which to continue your pursuit of tikkun olam, of making the world a more just place. We also have finally a book about Jewish life in Milwaukee called One People, Many Paths. It won't surprise me if we look in the index of names in the back, if we see Gimbels and Wagners. But I feel very confident that when John Gerda, the editor, the writer of this book, updates it many years from now, there really will be entries for you, and I bet for Harold and Arthur too. So we look forward to that day. But again, it's really been my pleasure and honor to offer a Mazal Tov on behalf of the clergy, the officers, the Board of Trustees, and all the teachers to you, to your parents, your grandparents, your extended family, and your many friends that are here today. So Mazal Tov.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good.
All right, Ella, I'm going to invite you to walk over now to the S tables, and Rachel and Benji, if you'd like to join, and Arthur and Harold, if you'd like to join them too, come on over. And in just a moment, you will lift up the Kiddush cup and lift up the challah. But first, I'm going to invite the congregation to rise now as we join together in singing Siman Tov and Mazel Tov.
Semen tov u'mazel tov u'mazel tov v'semen tov. Semen tov u'mazel tov u'mazel tov. Semen tov u'mazel tov v'semen tov. Yehelanu, 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 Ulechol Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Ulechol Yisrael. Semen tov u'mazel tov v'semen tov. Semen tov u'mazel tov v'semen tov. Semen tov u'mazel tov v'semen tov. Yehelanu.
All right, Ella, if you would lift up the Kiddush cup. The Kiddush cup represents not just the sweetness of this moment, but the sweetness of time. And so we lift it up high, and knowing that our cups are overflowing with blessings, we sing this timeless blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafel.
L'chaim. Just a little bit. Not too bad, right? All right. We are going to take the cover now off the challah, and the challah is also a symbol of community and a symbol of family. Just as the challah grants us a sense of sustenance, and the challah is interconnected, it's braided, so too are our lives braided together. We draw sustenance from that as well. So we lift up the challah, and we recite this blessing as well. Harold, you can lift that up if you want.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
B'te'avon. Mazel tov, everyone. Shabbat shalom. Enjoy the celebrations to come.